Is it worth selling on Etsy in 2019? Is Etsy dying? On forums and groups and pages, people are complaining in their droves that sales are down, that massive shops that have done well year on year on year, their sales are down. Is Etsy dying? What is going on here? And these are such massive shops that it really must mean that something's changed, doesn't it? Wait. Did I not make this video last year? And the year before? I have been on Etsy since 2008, and one feature that has been absolutely common every single year on Etsy is there are howls of people saying their sales are down and Etsy seriously must be dying. And yet, with these complaints, every single year, Etsy is growing and doing better. Not only revenue for Etsy itself, but the number of sales, the gross merchandise sold on Etsy is getting bigger every year. So what on earth is going on here? And before we get started, I want to start by saying I absolutely do sympathise with people whose sales have been going good and suddenly they've just crashed just now. I was in that position myself in 2010. My shop completely died. I'm not being unsympathetic. I totally understand. Many people try to make a living off of Etsy. They pay their bills off of Etsy, so it's a big deal when things are down. But one thing we have to realise, when your shop started, when you picked up, when things suddenly got good for you, it was likely at the expense of someone else as well. There are only so many slots on the first page of any search. There are only so many people can be getting seen at one time. So what can have happened when you suddenly got good? You knocked someone else off of the front page. So for your sales to have increased, someone else's sales slumped. And that, of course, is not your fault, but it's just something to bear in mind. You had that chance through hard work, skill, but also a bit of luck got you into that position. But unfortunately, that position is not guaranteed for you. Those sales are not guaranteed for you. Things change all the time. Search engines change, competitions change. What buyers are looking for changes, the entire market changes, the world changes. So, although you've been doing well for a long time, there could be a number of reasons why things have changed. If we consider, in this over a decade I've been on Etsy, how many big bricks and mortar stores have failed? Sadly, in retail this happens, and this has been happening a lot. I'm sure we can all think of some big names. In fact, put in the comments below some big stores that have failed in the past few years that completely surprised you. And there are reasons why they failed. Now, I'm not saying that you're failing. The thing is, you have been doing really well up until this point. You have ridden out the wave. You have bucked the trend of all the big guys. So things have taken a little dip just now for you. It doesn't mean that Etsy's dying, and it certainly doesn't mean that you can't get back into the position where you were. You have loyal customers that come back to you. You hopefully have a mailing list, started to build a website. You have a reputation. You have your brand. And that in itself is priceless. That gives you an edge over the competition, so don't lose heart. So let's have a think about the factors that might be causing Etsy to not be doing so well. I'm in the UK, so from a UK point of view, our economy might be a little bit nervous just now due to certain political factors. In America, whatever's just happened with your tax situation, where people are getting tax bills that they wouldn't have expected, that could cause things to drop for a short while. The weather has changed. The weather's different from what it was a month ago. That can make a huge difference. And we've just had Easter and we've just had Mother's Day. All these things make a difference to whether shoppers are shopping or not. And the biggest one that some people just don't seem to understand, it's not Christmas anymore. I know you worked really hard during last summer and you built up your shop and you're getting a good number of sales and you're looking going, well, my SEO's just as good as it was. Why are my sales less than they were in November? And the simple answer is, you might be just as good as you were. Your SEO might be as amazing. You might be ranking. You might be getting that lion's share of the purchases. There's just less people buying this month. There always is. Retail in general is not a straight line growth or even an exponential growth. You've got Christmas, rest of the year. Christmas, rest of the year. So be aware, it's not Christmas anymore. This could be the normal for this time of the year for you. But how is Etsy actually doing? Well, the Q1 results are actually out. Now, before I tell you, let's have a bit of fun. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think year on year Etsy is doing better, worse, or about the same as it was last year? Judging by how your shop's going, how people you're talking to are going, what is your feeling for the market? Taking into account all the things that I mentioned about the economy and everything else, how do you think Etsy's done in Q1 2019? From Statista, the global gross merchandise sales were over $1,000 million for Q1 2019. This is an 18.9% year-on-year growth. So Etsy is still going in the right direction. And it's still the biggest platform to sell handmade stuff. It crushes the sales for handmade on Etsy and Amazon Handmade. So if your sales are down, good news in that this market is still out there. You can still get in. You can still pick back up again. Check your competition, the price, the photos, what they look like, what they're selling. Have a look and see if anything's changed there. Check your rankings. See if you're still ranking for the terms that have been working for you in the past. Go into your shop manager and look at your stats and see what the important keywords were, and then go over, use a free tool like eRank, use their rank checker and find out if you are ranking for the terms that you once were. And if you're not, do a little bit of work, get yourself ranking again. And check your keywords. If your items are still looking good and you're still ranking for them, check that people are still searching for these. And you can do this by checking your search analytics beta from your shop dashboard. Compare a time period when you were doing good to now and see if your impressions are down on what they were before. Also in eRank, if you have the pro account, you can check and see what the search volume's like there as well. And before I go, remember, do not change a listing that's working well. Don't change your top performers, even if everything's taken a wee dip. Change your least performing items first. See if you can get them performing first. Because you might just be in a little dip because everything's in a little dip. There's just less buyers for a couple of weeks or something. And you change everything, you cause your listings to tank totally and you won't recover. So start with the worst ones, get them better, and then think about the best sellers. Thank you so much. I hope that helps, and I'll see you next time.